Adrian Rurowhai.
Oh, really?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's a pleasure to take a short call on the Enhancing Identity Verification and Border Processes legislation. I just wanted to start off by saying that, as my colleagues have said, that Labour will be supporting this bill to Select Committee. And I thought I wanted to express what we do know about this, the circumstances around this bill. First of all, we know that there was an inquiry. We know that there have been a number of failings in the systems, including corrections, justice, customs and internal affairs. And we know the perpetrator who got himself over to South America. But what we don't know is exactly how many other people have managed to do the same thing. This person got himself caught, and so maybe there have been others who haven't been caught, and I just thought it occurred to me that that is something that we don't know. And as my colleagues Jacinda Ardern and Calvin Davis have pointed out, we support this to first reading because there is clearly some systemic failures within the processes being used at the border and the sharing or lack of sharing of information. But I think I do want to acknowledge in this ever-changing world with the technology changes that we have, that it's appropriate also to ask the question, does the magnitude of the response match or appropriate for the size of the issue that exists? And I think that's an issue that the Select Committee ought to look at around all of these issues within this bill. And so it is a very powerful bill, I believe. Anything that changes the Privacy Act, to me, is a very high threshold of consideration needs to be made, and I believe that is the appropriate place to make it at Select Committee. Changing the use of information and, as I said, the technology around that information, biometric information being transferred or shared amongst agencies for that purpose, and I've listened carefully to the concerns that others have around this this very issue, and I have to say that I've heard some valid issues around the use and potential misuse of this biometric data, but we certainly do need to tread very carefully, but I also think that we need to have every tool that we can have in the toolbox to protect our borders, to protect and enforce the law of our country, so that people who are not supposed to leave New Zealand cannot leave New Zealand. So I am very happy to support that. I think, and I read in view of my portfolio being internal affairs, I've read the specific parts around the changes to the Passport Act, and they seem to me all very appropriate to be having within the processes of issuing passports. It still comes down to the ability to give effect to these new changes, that the only way that internal affairs in being able to issue a passport, they actually need the information from those other agencies. And so, sir, I'm happy to support this bill. Kia ora.